Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and Mr. Donovan. I thank you for being here today, and I want to give you credit right from the start. I think you're trying to do the best you can. Okay. That said, the differences between your assessment of our situation and indeed the President's assessment of our situation and my own and what I see in my colleagues, the differences are profound and they're fundamental. I had the opportunity to meet with the President. It was a few years ago, and it was just for a few minutes. But in those few minutes that I had the opportunity to speak to him, I went right at this issue of our fiscal situation. Above all else, it's what concerns me, and I just associate myself with the remarks of my colleagues. We didn't meet beforehand to understand where we were coming from on a line of questioning, but it resonates with me, the alarm that they're expressing. This, our nation, and in the nation's capital, I think hyperbole is used oftentimes, and the word crisis is used on just about everything. But I'm submitting to you that we do indeed have a fiscal crisis. I don't believe that your testimony here today reflects the crisis we're in. I don't think the President's words reflect the crisis that we're in. In fact, I associate myself with what Mr. Womack said. I walked out of the State of the Union and I just thought, it's like he's just completely unaware of where we're headed financially. Interest rates can only go one way, right? Which way? Up. $130 billion for each 100 basis points, one full point increase. That's hardly reflected in all of this. I look at the President's schedule, what he talks about, and when he's in public, it's like fiscal Orwellian speak. You know, I've been a business person all of my life and dealt with budgets, and I look at your own testimony, Mr. Donovan. Look, page 1, bottom paragraph, and I know you know the difference between the debt and the deficit, but listen to this sentence. The 2017 budget continues this progress. It shows, okay, you talk about that we are proud of the President's budget, that it meets the test of fiscal sustainability. Listen to this part. And putting debt on a declining path through 2025. Does the President's budget put debt on a declining path through 2025?
Yes, it does.
No, it does not. As a percent of the GDP, it does. And by the way, I agree with you on that point. Everything ought to be evaluated in terms of percent of GDP. Revenue, expenditures, the debt as a percent of GDP. But words matter, Mr. Donovan. I'd expect that you, of all people, would understand the difference here. You said you're putting the debt on a declining balance through 2025.
A declining path is a share of the economy?
No, no. Debt is increasing. We need to be precise.
As a share of the economy.
Oh, is that what you're saying? That's not what it said here. Look, this isn't a matter of semantics. I get the difference. Listen, I'm in favor of evaluating things as a percent of GDP.
Every serious economist who looks at this issue,
you're misunderstanding the point I'm making
of the economy.
No, on that point, Mr. Donovan, please, you're a smart guy. I'm not trying to talk down to you. I think we're trying. The thing is, we only have 5 minutes. It goes just like that. On that point, I'm in agreement with you. I really believe everything ought to be evaluated as a percent of GDP. That's how every lender does this. It's how I ran my business. It's your ability to repay, and that is a percent of whatever it is, your business cash flow or whatever. On that point, we're in agreement. I'm saying that even in your written testimony, you said we're putting debt on a declining path. Now, if I was putting my business on a path of declining debt, that means I'm paying down my debt. The reason I bring this to your attention is because when I hear the President speak, and indeed it's kind of embedded in your own testimony here, it is a bit Orwellian. And what I mean by that is that you're not dealing with reality, the stark and harsh and troubling reality of our fiscal situation. The President references an extremist point of deficits, and he says, I brought them down. Well, he doesn't go on to say, but they're still way too high. That's what leadership is. And look,
deficits today are below the 40-year average of deficits.
Well, no, see, the challenge that, see, this Orwellian speak here, and look, I still associate myself, there's a fundamental difference between this side and that side. And frankly, we're right on this. We are calling attention to our fiscal situation. You're not expressing any real concern about where we're headed. I tell you.
I don't think that's accurate. I've talked a lot about the progress that we've made, but also more that
You know, the
we need to
president's
do.
not fighting for this. He's not fighting. He didn't say hardly a word about it in the State of the Union speech. Hardly a word. That is not leadership.
He
The
talked
clock's
about,
ticking on his administration. The clock's ticking on our country. No, I'm sorry. Listen, I don't mean to raise my voice, and I appreciate the ranking member. No, he's.
I've been on this committee a long, long time, and I've never seen anyone come before us treated the way And the last time I read the Constitution and the Appropriations Committee manuals. It says that the president proposes and we dispose. So how can it be that a president is driving up the debt when we pass bills that pay for programs in this country? So we don't have a dictatorship, and I think it's time we realize we don't have a dictatorship. We're either all guilty or no one is guilty.
Mr. Chairman, may I just have 30 seconds?
Certainly, that doesn't count against your time.
Okay.
And if you feel like talking loud, that's what
It's
I
okay.
don't think the director
And I
is
just,
offended by your loud
I
talk.
thank the
But
ranking
I can talk
member,
loud too.
and I respect the ranking member. And look, it's an honor to be on this committee. And I simply want to say, look, we're fellow Americans trying to get this right. And I've got problems with my own party. The Americans for Tax Reform pledge is mathematically indefensible. I'm simply submitting to you, Mr. Donovan, that part of leadership, and I think the fundamental part of it, is a proper assessment of the current situation and the trajectory, the direction we're going. My concern here today is not something I've contrived. I know these hearings are so often thought of as theater. I'm not saying I care any more than you about our fiscal situation, but it keeps me up at night, and frankly, I wish it didn't. I didn't think about this as much as I do. But when we get on the flip side of debt, and we're there, 200 basis points, 2 full interest, 2 points going up, which is frankly within reason, $260 billion. And to the ranking member's point, my own party's contributed to this situation. I didn't like it when I was told to go out shopping when we got into wars. I wanted somebody to tell me how I needed to sacrifice. I never heard that. But I've taken enough time, and I thank the chairman for his extension of time, and I thank the ranking member for his comment. And I thank you for your testimony today.
thank you.
Thank you.